There's a story I once heard, a story that stayed with me, not because it was magical, but because it felt like a metaphor for something we all experience without noticing. It's the story of a boy carried the sun. His name was Leo. He wasn't strong. He wasn't famous. He wasn't the type of hero people write books about. He was just a kid, quiet, thoughtful, always observing the world like he was trying to understand something everyone else ignored. But Leo had a secret. He believed that the sun rose each morning because he carried its light inside him. Every time he felt hopeful, every time he dreamed, every time he forced himself to try again, the sun shone a little brighter, and every time he gave up, doubted himself, or felt lost, the light dimmed. Now, before you think this is a children's fable, I want you to think about your own life for a moment, because I believe every one of us carries a small piece of the sun inside, a source of energy, purpose, and direction. And yet most people live as if they've forgotten it. I know I have. There were moments when everything felt heavy, when I woke up tired, even after sleeping, when nothing inspired me, when I felt like the world kept asking more from me than I had to give. The kind of days where even getting out of bed feels like lifting a mountain. And during those times, it felt like my own inner sun had faded. The truth is, we all go through that. We all lose our light sometimes. Back in the story, Leo lived in a small village surrounded by mountains. The villagers always complained about the world, the cold nights, the long days, the problems they faced. But Leo never complained. He believed that if he kept his inner light alive, he could bring warmth to everything around him. One day, a terrible storm swept through the village. The sky turned black, the sun disappeared, and people panicked. The sun is gone, they cried. We're doomed. But Leo didn't panic. He simply stood up, took a deep breath, and said softly, if the sky lost its sun, maybe I can carry it for a while. And in that moment, he felt something, a warmth in his chest, a spark, a glow. It wasn't magic. It wasn't supernatural. It was courage. That part of the story reminds me of something personal. There was a time when my family was struggling emotionally, financially, everything at the same time. I felt like the world around me had lost its sun. And even though I didn't know how to fix anything, I realized something important. Sometimes you're not supposed to fix everything. You're just supposed to shine long enough for others to find their way. Leo walked out into the storm. The wind tried to push him back. The darkness tried to swallow him. But he kept moving, step by step, carrying nothing but belief. People in the village watched him, some confused, some doubtful, some angry. But even then, his glow didn't fade. And this part matters. Most people fail, not because they are weak, but because they look for approval before they move. Leo didn't. He didn't wait for permission to shine. He didn't wait until he felt ready. He didn't wait for the storm to pass. He walked through it. And that's a lesson I learned much later in life. If you wait for perfect conditions, you will never start anything meaningful. The sun inside you shines brightest in storms, not in calm weather. The deeper Leo went into the mountains, the brighter his chest glowed. And eventually, something incredible happened. The clouds parted just a little. A small ray of sunlight broke through. It wasn't much. It wasn't enough to warm the whole village. But it was enough to remind people that hope still existed. Sometimes, you don't need to achieve something huge. Sometimes, all you need is one small wind, one small ray of light to keep going. I remember once when I was struggling with work. I felt stuck, behind, lost. Nothing seemed to move forward. And then one day, I managed to fix just one small thing, something tiny and insignificant. But somehow, that little step gave me the energy to take another one, and then another. Progress is often a chain reaction. One spark becomes a flame. One flame becomes the sun. Back in the story, Leo eventually reached the highest mountain. The storm clouds swirled around him like a dark ocean, and at the top, he lifted his hands toward the sky. He didn't shout. He didn't wish. He simply believed. And the sun returned. Not because he was special, but because he dared to carry the light when everyone else chose fear. The villagers celebrated. They called him a hero. But Leo knew the truth. He hadn't brought the sun back. He had simply carried his own light long enough for the world to remember its own. And here is the message I want you to take from this story. The message I remind myself of every time things get hard. Inside you, there is a light, a strength, fire, a sun. You carry it every single day, even on the days when you feel empty or lost. Especially on those days when life gets heavy. You don't need to brighten the whole world. You just need to keep your own light from going out. And here are a few life lessons that help me keep mine alive. 1. Protect your energy. Not everyone deserves access to it. People who drain you are stealing your sunlight. 2. Don't wait for motivation. Create routines that keep your fire burning. Motivation fades. Discipline carries the sun. 3. Do one thing each day that makes you proud. Even small pride is fuel. 4. Talk to yourself kindly. You can't shine if your own thoughts keep dimming you. 5. And remember, storms are temporary. It's permanent. Leo grew up and became someone others looked to for strength, but he always remembered one thing. The sun wasn't in the sky. It was in him, and it's in you, too. So the next time the world feels dark, the next time life feels overwhelming, the next time you feel like the sun has disappeared, close your eyes and remind yourself, I carry the sun, and take one step, then another, and another. Because sometimes the world doesn't need a miracle. Sometimes it just needs you to shine.